Okay. Alright. Sorry for that. For my wife... for some reason my Wi-Fi crashed for a moment. Fortunately, I was able to reestablish connection before Geo made his next move. So he won't miss out on the grand finale here. That would have been quite a shame. Although it will be in 2 separate videos now. Annoying. Whatever. If I have to separate it out into 2 separate videos, that is no major deal. Okay. Yeah. So sorry about that. I mean, for folks on YouTube, very sorry that happened. Especially at such a grand finale type thing, type part of the game. So Snuff is likely going to land at CAG. The peril of CG is too great anywhere else. Okay, the music will go off for a moment, but just make sure that my Wi-Fi connection is stable now. Okay. Alright, there we go. That all should be fine now. In regards to that. Okay, so Gul'daming played a renewed vigor. That's interesting. Yeah, I think this is really punishing Geo not having brought Van Helsing down. The fact that he's just sitting up there, and the fact that he showed a knife against a new vampire that he may well still be holding, that's so much potential power that's just sitting up there. I think that may well be the deciding factor. May well have been the deciding factor in this. I mean, that's not to say that Snuff has won yet, but it's definitely giving him quite a good chance. All right. Okay, so apparently I shall need to separate it into 2 separate videos, which is a bother, but it's not the end of the world. It's not as if I lost the whole thing, fortunately. Which definitely would have sucked, especially after Card Don't Shoot's generous follow that he gave me. In the first part. Okay. Yeah, for those in Twitch chat who may have only just come back in, apologies for that. My Wi-Fi seemed to just crash for a moment. I have no idea why. Fortunately, I managed to reestablish stable connection. So, oh, there is the Money Trail. Did he go fancy and go to Black Sea? Yes, he did. Oh boy. So the question is, does he have CG? Since he's dug almost 50 cards into the deck with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 Drac events. So there's still 11 left. That means there's only 16 Hunter events left that could be CG in the deck. So if it's there, if it is there, this could just be the turnaround that Geo needs. Then again, I suppose then he would just land at Athens, because with no CG to worry about anymore. And with the fog clogging up Venice, there wouldn't be much they could do to reach that in time. I mean, one way or another. Okay, yeah, Mina's heading. Okay, the fact that Mina's heading in that direction means that. Okay, well, it may mean that he does not have the CG, but then again, even if he does have the CG, Due to how much damage Dracula will take, he will almost always land in Athens or Salonika from the Ionian after you've done it. But the thing is, you can put the permanent token in one of said two ports, so that you know for sure which one it is. Okay, now the ultimate question: CG or no CG? That is the question. I disagree with that, because even if well, I suppose then you get to CG him back out to C because he doesn't have, and he gets an error. If you can manage to deal a little bit of damage too, yes, that is a good point, but then, But the thing is that he's already going to collect 3 points from landing in the first place. If they simply CG him out, that he will have a. I suppose so long as that he can always misdirect his spot since it was not wolf form. Yeah. So if for that to work, Archwin, for him to be holding back the CG, he has to send Mina in and deal net 1 damage. Yes, this is still game 1. Sorry for this brand new stream. My Wi-Fi crashed briefly, so I had to reset to a new stream. Yeah. Again, to those who watch this on YouTube, apologies, as that will be most annoying for you, considering that we were getting to that we were just getting to the climax of the game. Yeah, Snuff is, as you can see, Geo is in a bit of a sticky spot. So now he just chooses one, Constanta or Varna. Mina will have to take a guess. Which one is he in? And then if he has CG, then Geo wins. If not, then Snuff has the win. No matter what happens at that point. We know that Fog is not an option because that was his first draw from the reshuffled deck. So there is no Fog. Oh, Mina can now check both with no problem. Although, okay, actually playing Wounded Vigor there is a bit dangerous. And why is that? What if Snuff is sitting on his second bats? Because we only ever saw one of them. If Geo is sitting on the second bats here, then what could happen is if Mina gets this correctly on the first go, he can ambush with the bats, and then since she still has an action, she'd get batted right out, and there would be no combat. So doing Renewed Vigor is perhaps a little bit risky when it comes to the truth of things. Seward, in theory, can get there. If he has Sense of Emergency and Charged Carriage, oh, well, that's requirement 1 fulfilled. He can reach Constanta. Oh, all that supplying, they have literally drawn 50, they have literally supplied 50 times throughout this game. So, okay, let us hope that, for anyone who rooting for Snuff, hope that he chose Varna instead, because of that. And yes, that is indeed the case. So, Seward misses because Snuff, I'm not sure whether or not he foresaw that peril, but he thought that if it came, possibly he thought if it came down to a 50-50 guess, he would likely choose the one that's a horse away, and therefore a slow horse might just make him botch it anyway. It's possible that that was his reasoning. This is very tense. In order for the hunters to win, Mina has to go into Varna, do battle with Dracula, survive the battle, which, honestly, doing a battle with Dracula would not be... I would be very surprised if there is no planned ambush, no heroic leap at this point, this deep into the game. I'll be very surprised. Oh, but her one event is excellent weather. Van Helsing might be able to trade Mina something, and he is doing just that. But the only thing But that is one thing that Dracula knows. But here's the dangerous thing. As I already pointed out, but this is so important that if Dracula is sitting on a bat and lay that rumor token down just for the lulz, which plenty of people do at this when they're this high in influence, then since Mina will still have an action, she can she'll just get batted right back to Sophia without any combat. All right, moment of truth. It's bodyguards. Okay. The second forewarned. I suppose that's not all that surprising. So in that case, the bats wouldn't have saved him anyway. But Mina could also be holding heroic leap, and they could be holding CG, and that would finish the job. Discarding her horses so that she can get another item. He's choosing which one to show Dracula. Let's see. Oh, lol. So you can now know which one he wolf formed to. It was Salonica. Okay. Lol. Alright, moment of truth. Well, for one thing, can Mina survive this fight? Oh, with planned ambush, that ups the odds. And this means that he is, like, guaranteed to deal net damage to Dracula. So she does have a knife. She has admitted to that. If we're looking over here, she has admitted that she does still have a knife. Going with plotting. Okay. Yeah. Are you willing to let him have the plotting on you? Because, considering that it's Mina, a bite is also death. Unless they have great strength, which is entirely possible, as they have dug 50 cards and slightly over 50 cards into the event deck. Yeah, Gio has to, but this is definitely worth thought. Definitely worthy of thought. Alright, he's chosen to go with the punch, because he really only needs the one punch. Because now, if he CGs him, he takes an error for 5 damage and has to go out to sea for the remaining 2 damage. So, Dracula has to make sure that if she escapes, he scores a Fang point in the meanwhile. With no Aggie to help, that he can still heal off of that. So Dracula wants to heal, if possible. I would, in Drac's place, I would Mez, because there's possibility of knife to try to intercept there's possibility of a knife, that she will play knife to, block Fangs from sniping a heavenly host. Like, potential heavenly host, because the hunters only need 2 heavenly hosts in active for this to work. Claws. Not sure. Oh boy. At this point, even if he lands both Fangs, it won't be enough. However, the fact that he's playing the heavenly host and is not just escaping says that they do not have the CG. So, because as Mina, I would have just escaped tried to escape there and then. I. Dracula definitely should play defensive here. Go strength to Mez. Mez, but he called that by doing punch. Yeah, Archwin, I think I agree that it's very unlikely. However, it's possible that he tossed the Heavenly Host because they only at this point on the map since there's a CG token, they only need the one. They only need 2 Heavenly Hosts. They don't need all 3. So it's possible that he's just making sure that he can't heal out. And that is also true that we could have great strength involved. But all Dracula has to do is survive. Okay, Mez. Okay. And at this point he can now escape his mist since he survived till round 5. If he has escape his mist, he can use it and just gamble on whether they have CG or not. Which I think that he'll be encouraged by the fact that I think that he will likely try one Fang attack to if he has Fangs, he will likely try one Fang attack because and gamble that he doesn't have double knife. You could alternatively just, now that she's used her Heavenly Host, just do strength. Going with plotting. Oh boy. Oh, it was a garlic. Whoa. Now we know what Mia has, and that is very bad for Geo. That now he can I'm guessing that means that he does not have the escape is missed. That he did not have the escape is missed for that round and did the plotting to fetch it. Yeah, being brave enough to do that. Granted it was only another Heavenly Host or Knife that would have killed him since she was mezzed for that round. Yeah, Geo had very poor ticket luck. Okay, strength, I think that's good enough too. It makes sure that you survive. And Geo is confirming that he does not have CG. So this game goes to Snuffalluffagus. And this, so even if Snuff loses the next game, yeah, Geo has the thing with the AI. Put Oski in chat. Chat. Let's see if we can get these two in for a post-game chat before a brief intermission, because that is something worth talking about. Post-game chat. In between? In-game games? Let's see if we can get them in here to talk about that one. Oh, Great Wolf? The thing is, he knows that Mia can't defend herself, so that's his win. Lol. GG for Snuff. That is a 2 IDS victory for Snuff. But the IDS at this point doesn't matter. The fact that he's gotten up to 5 wins now means that El Rittmeister will unfortunately, this now means that Roy the 11th will no longer be able to qualify because Snuff has, because in terms of medium Burkle's score, he is a good ways behind, and Snuff has over 15 more. So unfortunately for Roy, but once a quick chat in the channel, in the voice chat, in the English channel 3 XD. Yeah, just a brief chat to summarize that. And I should do that. Yeah, that was quite the. All right, so we'll have a brief chat and then start the reverse matchup in 20 minutes or so. So, I mean, after a brief chat, while I keep this music running, I will switch to my intermission screen until they have that set up. I mean, remember, folks, 20 minutes, and then it'll happen. Welcome, Snuffalluffagus. Congratulations on securing the fact that it'll at least come down to me and Burkholz, on at least securing that much. That if Elbertmeister wants to get in, he'll have to defeat you in an MB now, and defeat Roy the 11th twice. That is, and now Roy the 11th is no longer a threat to you. So that is quite an excellent win, and quite a ballsy way to do so.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most interesting part of this game, in my opinion. I had set up that fog and was waiting up the clock, and I was risking for a long. You could see me waiting and risking the gamble that I would get jumped on and have to guess who had forewarned, and it was only one. So I was thinking about that, and I decided, okay, I've waited here long enough. I got my feet, and I've done all I can do. So I left, and as you all saw, once I went to sea, I was hoping that fog would mature. I could put it on.
Yes.
Genoa, right, and then I had a bat in Marseille. So whichever hunter tried to get me to get to CAG would be prevented from doing so.
In your, I assume you're referring to your Marseille lair.
Marseille lair was a bat.
Yeah, because there was a bat there originally as well, so I wasn't completely certain that you weren't referring to that.
Had a bat. After it was layered, I put another bat in there.
Okay.
My plan was, if Geo hadn't dealt with the fog in Venice, I was going to go to CAG, and if I was going to put the fog from the CAG, from the Venice fog mature in Genoa, preventing someone from going to CAG through Genoa while I was there.
Well,
and I was going to use the bat to prevent someone from using Marseille.
There actually would have been a slightly more secure plan than that. Just put the fog on CAG. The fog token's on CAG. If you're gonna go there. Because yes, at first I was disappointed in it because hello Geo, welcome in. But to continue my train of thought that I was talking with Snuff about, but I was a bit disappointed when you didn't continue on to the Ionian. Hey Geo. If you don't mind, I'll finish the subject I was covering with Snuff. I was a bit disappointed when you didn't go on to the Ionian from the Adriatic. You know why? I didn't.
Why?
Because had you gone on Ionian, Tyrrhenian, Med, or had the wolf form bit it, or alternatively done wolf form to Naples, go into the Tyrrhenian so that you can go in either direction and then move another sea space. Either way, it lines up perfectly with you landing again or wolf forming ashore from the Med of all seas, which also could have happened landed at CAG, on precisely Monday, your first Monday week 4 move. The timing was so you could have just gone Pirate Drac, and that also would have been a fairly secure bet.
Yeah. So
but what?
Let me just kind of go through my thinking on that. So Gio, we just went through my initial plan, which you totally saw through, hoping to protect the landing at CAG. When that didn't work, then I moved to Salonica down, and my initial, I was debating what to do. A part of me was thinking about landing at CAG anyway, risking that, and then once I land at CAG, if I just do one more land, or if I do hide, I win. I thought also about just staying Pirate Drac and forcing the hunters to deal with that new vamp that I put down. But I at the last thing I considered, I thought I'd be sneaky and go to black, thinking that if I land, even if I take damage from CG, I could still land again.
Yes, the peril, however, the peril with was
the money trail play, and I was thinking about that too. I was like, well, if I get money trailed and I get blocked off,
yeah,
I can always go back, and I might still survive if I have to go back the other way and have land in Greece, but that would be very perilous, and I think I probably underrated that possibility, especially given how many cards were gone through.
Yeah, Geo supplied for over 50 cards, through over 50 cards of the event deck, so that was definitely more dangerous than it needed to be.
The Black Clan would have been going with the force him to deal with the vamp in Salonica approach, I think.
Yeah, or just go to CAG, and because you, and possibly if you had one lay down Reckless, something like that.
Yeah, but I saw the excellent weather on Mina, so yeah, maybe.
Fair enough. Fair point. That was a visible threat that you could see, and that influenced your thoughts.
Let me make one final point before I stop talking and ask Gio his thoughts. I will say that final combat I did kind of read it fairly correctly, other than like not gambling on fanging on the Heavenly Host, which I thought about. Other than that, I think I played it pretty well. And I was thinking, he just drew a third thing. He probably came in with Horse Knight Heavenly Host. He probably drew something random, not very good, like a
like the garlic. And the Determinator Snuff's mic is almost always quiet, no matter how much I adjust it, and it makes other people too loud when I do that. Sorry for that.
But by the time I got to week 5, turned 5, I realized that nothing he could do to me would deal 2 damage to me unless he had a second knife, which seemed impossible because the knives I assumed were already doled out and distributed. So if he had drawn like a gun or something, or a garlic, or I assumed he didn't have a crucible because we probably played it the turn before, but I assume that whatever he had drawn would not kill me in turn 5 if I had played the plot, and then I could save my strength that I did have for turn 6 and not have to gamble on, you know.
Yeah, you also could have used that plung to draw Escape is Mist if you didn't already have it, because a Crucifix doesn't kill you if it blocks Mist. It only just prevents it. I'm not sure if you knew that.
I did not. What does it give you points for? It gives you points if it does damage if it mesmerizes or fangs?
Yes. When it comes to Mist, it's a round where you can guarantee yourself that you're not taking damage, no matter what they do.
I forgot that.
So
that's all I have to say about the ending. I'd definitely be interested in hearing what Gio has to say about the ending, about the game, about anything. And yeah, that's that.
Sergio, how about things from your side? Obviously, as you said in the chat, very rough ticket luck. As same old AI as always.
The last one, the AI almost. I have very handicaps with the AI normally. In each games, normally always the eye now the last one is near of the win.
Yeah.
Is a handicap very strong because it's so.
So
and after the CG not received the CG.
Yeah, that would have made you win if you had it.
With CG, I won the game because Dracula was in 2 HP. True.
Yes. After the
with CG.
fun. There is a fun. Yeah, fun fact, don't know if you noticed this, had you CG'd him without fighting, that wouldn't have been quite enough. You would have been one short, as he would have bounced right back out and landed in whichever, and then, if necessary, misdirected Varna, and then landed right back in. At that point, you had to take that fight no matter what, even with CG's help. It wouldn't...
My mistake was discarded Spirit Telegraph for conserve other cards. With Spirit Telegraph, I'm cool to send Seaward to East because Van Helsing first play Money Trail, okay. And then Seaward, I could Seaward to East, and then could to be 2 versus 1, surely. But
yeah, then he too could have been there.
For the discard the last Spirit Telegraph, I think.
Well,
that was very well done. Your Seward move was really good.
Yeah.
That's one thing I hadn't actually considered, right? I chose to go to Varna thinking that if you didn't have another RV, the one you were more likely to check was probably Constanta because it's a little further away. And you'd probably think that I thought that maybe you'd get a bad horse roll, right? So that I'd probably go to Constanta. But obviously, by virtue of having ready charter carriage and sense of emergency on Seward, you were able to guarantee checking that space, and you were able to potentially have a 2v1 if it did go there.
Yeah.
And you were guaranteed to have a 1v1 if I wasn't there. So having your events in that arrangement was really, really effective. Yes. And I didn't think about it.
I think that the deciding factor ultimately, for being the one from the spectator perspective, was the fact that Van Helsing was not putting any pressure. I mean, yes, he was. Apart from getting events, and that's not insubstantial, but simply the presence of a hunter who could have just that sort of movement, and also I'm not sure if Gio, did you ever trade the knife that Van Helsing showed in the fight with an early new vamp off of him? Because for all I know, that was still on him all that time up there in Ireland.
No, Ireland. I know Snuff.
Yeah, I think that
because not had excellent weather. Okay, in this moment, then not had time for to arrive there. Then
so you
Van Helsing and Nather, yeah, not a stake, no had a stake. Then no, I think not was important Van Helsing to go Ireland this moment.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't you bring Van Helsing out off Ireland?
As I say before, the ones not.
Yeah, you're
to use fast course because not had.
Yeah, you already told us that in the type chat that you only had in the type that you only got it like when it was just about week 3. So yeah, that is definitely one way that this favored Snuff immensely. But not well done, Snuff. You got yourself a much needed win.
Funny enough, it's my first Dracula win of this entire tournament.
And with
kinda funny and kind of sad.
Yeah. Congrats. You deserve to play knockouts. I think.
Well, to guarantee to get.
Appreciate it very a lot. You.
Well, yeah. Well, to guarantee it, he'll have to beat you again, Gio, in game 2, which, as we said, will happen like after say considering the time we've had to chat, say like 10 to 15 minutes from now, because I think that's the biggest things of this game covered.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
You said you want to start in 10 minutes. You want to wrap this up and then start 10 minutes from now, or 15?
I know, whenever you two are ready. I'm not the player here, dude, guys. when we start again, that's up to you. But I basically I'm.
Final thought then. Let me just say, Gio, thank you for the kind words. Always a pleasure to play with you. You and I are kind of besties. Gio and I kind of came into the community in the same class, so to speak, and that we both had the same first tournament, which for us was New Blood. So I feel like our destinies are intertwined in a way. So thanks for the kind words, and looking forward to our reverse matchup, and hopefully us both being in the knockouts.
Well,
with that, Gio, whatever amount of time you want to wait between this one, so we can grab a drink, go to the bathroom, do whatever. Do you want to do 10 minutes? Do you want to do 15? Let me know. Whatever you feel is good. 5.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm ready. But if you need a few minutes, no problem. When as you decided.
Yeah, your guys' choice entirely. I have a little intermission slide thanks to Scott Sword, credit to him on that I can shift onto for my stream, and then I can shift back in whenever you guys are ready. Just keep me posted in case it turns out to be a longer wait. That's really.
Okay, sounds like Gio's ready to go. So why don't we just take a very short break, like 5 minutes?
All right.
Come back
okay.
At 15 minutes past the hour, whatever that hour happens to be in your local time.
That would be in 2 minutes, so more like 20 minutes past the local time.
For me, I think your clock's a little faster than me. It says 4:10 p.m.
Okay.
My time.
Whatever. So about 5 minutes.
Whatever.
I'm chat. You heard it. 5 minutes, and I'll be right back. Heck, thank you for chatting, Stuffs and Gio. Excellent game. Definitely one that people want to watch. As that was uncertain to the end who would win. Excellent match.
Right.
Wonderful old match for round 8. So,
Bye for now.
my pleasure. All right. Catch you all. All right, Twitch. Catch you all back here in just a bit. For the time being, but for the moment, all right. Terminator, I had forgotten about that. I had forgotten that I had muted the mic for that intermission, so as not have any background noise. But I was saying was that since I was saying welcome back for the reverse matchup between Snuff and Geo. Honestly, Snuff is doing hunting this time. And since I already introduced these two in the first round, I am there's not much to talk about. However, I am curious. Is Geo gonna try for an island start too, just to try to imitate Snuff after that sort of shenanigans? What will Geo try to pull? It would be extremely funny if that did happen. Rufus Smith. Oh, with that, I'm guessing as an ally because Snuff doesn't tend to, especially when it's only the starting location. That I'm guessing that he will ally. Yeah. My personal rule of thumb when I'm playing is to always search with allies at first. At least until you have some information. With the exception of Parker, obviously, because he gets his power is that he gets you information. This is what can I say? I definitely hope that this match turns out to be as exciting as the last one, but considering what Snuff did, it'll be hard to beat that for like the amount of surprise and just the lulz involved in successfully pulling off a thing like that. So it'll be hard to beat that. Okay, wolf forming. So I think he's going. Knowing Geo, he likes doing the first location lair thing. So I think that he is wolf forming away so that he can like more easily like create a circle or something and come back here. I think that that's what's likely going to happen. Especially as one thing about Geo I can mention that I might have mentioned it at the beginning of the last one, but he has gotten to the point where he likes the first location lair thing. Oh, but Mia has a newspaper. Ooh, does that mean that he does? Does that mean he does it or no? And it means that the hunters are less likely to draw a perfect time newspaper. And the thing is, revealing this doesn't, especially if it's in a location such as like Zurich, Geneva, Frankfurt, all sorts. There are all sorts of places where if you reveal this with the newspaper at dawn, a wolf forms away from that isn't too huge of a clue. And it gives you the general vicinity, but but in some cases, a very large vicinity. And I suppose psychic scans might be able to solve that problem. But, that is definitely an interesting way to open, especially if you intend to do the first layer. I mean, if he's gonna misdirect this, why wolf form? Why not simply start somewhere else? So, since he committed to doing the wolf form, it would just be a mistake to misdirect now. Considering that. Yeah, despite the newspaper reports, which is unfortunate, but since it's a wolf form, I mean, does that really matter to him much? Okay, hired scouts. What we got? Honestly, Snuff, when I've played against Snuff, he does like to check Ireland. there is that. So chances are we'll see at least one thrown up there. As this could be a fake wolf form and a hide, but that would be an extremely spicy play. That is true. Geo, admittedly, I have not been watching Geo all that much as of late. I've been mostly streaming other people. Not that I've been intentionally ignoring him, but the times just haven't lined up right. A lot of the time. That being said, I have streamed a couple of Geo's games, and that he does like to do it in a wolf form. You are quite right there, Terminator. Marseille and Athens. Interesting. Snuff typically throws at least one scout up into Ireland, but but what if this is a complete axe, and he suddenly goes to sea? But then again, doing a lair stratagem Ireland is just nonsense. That would just be... I mean, that would be... it might be the sort of mega crazy thing that could end up working because of that, because of the fact that it's so crazy. But that'd be extremely hilarious to see. Gracious. The very idea of it makes me like, why on earth would he do that? It's just, it seems so silly, and yet it might be silly enough that the hunters might not consider it. Okay, with that, we now know that that's not the case. Yeah, he's doing his typical Dracula strat of doing like, at least setting up to do a lair stratagem. There haven't at least been many games that I've seen that he's pulled it off. That being said, there's a first time for everything. Yeah, pistol. Nothing all that remarkable in the discard yet. Not in Austria-Hungary. That is not really surprising. I'm actually a little bit surprised that... Well, okay, right, this isn't Geo's hunting. If Geo did go with the Oktoberfest start and Snuff pulled the Ireland trick on him. Gracious. So many games blended together that I'm losing track. This tournament has kept me quite busy. With at least with getting to the point of quite a lot of never mind. Okay, so Snuff, I think, wisely chose to withhold his to withhold the newspaper long enough to... Oh, scouts again. This could be interesting. Oh. Why, hello there. But he has not yet been to Sofia. It's possible that that's where he wolf formed over. That he began at Valona, then wolf formed over to the Black Sea coast. Or like Galatz did that. Well, no, that wouldn't quite work. Really the only... Unless he began at Klausenberg. Or, honestly, I'm not sure. With him not having gone to Sophia, that's quite significant in narrowing down where he could have been. So we know that this, since he has not been to Sophia, we know that this is either Galatz up here or Constanta. Because this location was not in Austro-Hungary. We know that. So, but where did he wolf form to? I mean, we'll find that out relatively shortly. What the? Okay. Alright. And I hope that Goldaming has the stake for the vampire that is at wherever this wolf form location is. I'd guess this is something to do with a horse trade. Or possibly like Mia has no weapon or anything or something like that. Although I have doubts about that. I mean, I can respect not wanting to I suppose I can respect not wanting to jump into a bats as the last move of the day. I suppose I can understand that, but when he starts there and Seward is still in the area with good rail movement, I'm not sure I agree with... It's possible that it's better for Seward to just wait. If you have all three horses. But then again, I suppose that's less hand space for them to have items for trail clearing. I mean, chances are he just went to Sophia. As I see it, this is likely... He checked Athens, but he did not check Valona. I think that Valona is our starting location. And then he wolf formed to Varna, went to Constanta, hid, went to Bucharest. Either that or hit on Varna, which I think is more likely. Okay. Seward using the ticket so that Mina can get to her this turn. Get to her? So that Mina can get to him this turn. Goldaming will be hoping for a 2 roll to get to Varna in time. But even then, I'm guessing that is where the high card is. That being said, if he matures this, that will at least disrupt this lair stratagem, and you will know where he is. At least, you'll, almost guaranteed know where he is. And then, okay. Yeah, so if I'm right, he will be moving into that space now, which from Sophia means that he either started in Valona, Salonika, or Belgrade. I suppose Salonika is perhaps a tad more likely, as it's less likely to get searched, Valona being a very popular early game search location. But the question is, does Goldaming have the dogs for the saboteur, or a forewarned for bats or saboteur? That's the question. Oh, well, now that's interesting. Well, okay, that simply says that I think he's consenting that that's the hide card, and therefore he will get his vampire mature. But he knows that is Sophia. I mean, if he knows that if he was getting back to his thing, his first encounter. Yeah, I think I agree with that move. Let Varna mature. Wipe away the first batch of trail, and while blocking Valona, make it so that the easy hop across the Adriatic play is not available. So I think I agree with that move. It is definitely a valid one. There's an argument that you try for it and then hope that he didn't have the Saboteur bats, but either way, it's valid. And especially if he has Vampire Lair, like Geo did, it's entirely possible that we will see that. New vampire. Okay. That's not as bad. In which case you would, at this point, you would currently you would hold the Vampire Lair. It's only when it's a 7-pointer, because by taking out 2, if he still gets it in batches of 3, 7, 10, 13, whereas here is 9, 12, 13. Still in the same number of day 4 weeks. What? Day 4 weeks? What am I saying? Week 4 days. That's apparently how that works. So therefore, it would be a mistake. Even if they have Vampire Lair, it would be a mistake to use it now. Okay, so he has laid down the high card on Salonica, hoping that Gul'dan will move, I think. So, the problem that Dracula has is they have plenty of time to defuse Salonica and Sophia. Okay, yeah, trade with Gul'dan, possibly giving him perhaps a heroic leap, forewarned, or planned ambush type card. We'll see. I think is we are assuming that he didn't start at Belgrade because there wasn't any scan the first night. They were doing tickets, so he could have gotten away with that. Wolf on Varna, hide, then go to Constanta. Okay, yep. Oh, we'll form again. That will be Athens, Bucharest, or Varna. So, the hunters definitely cannot ignore this, unless they have a way to pounce on him right here and now. Because he's on 1 encounter. Yeah. Snuff interpreted that situation correctly. I think that it's likely Athens, although I'm not sure that I agree with using wolf form just before you're about to go to sea. This means that it'll take him quite a while to... So one of them was a mob, that's not a big deal. A rats, that's not a big deal either. Although the two combined do... Okay, new vampire. Okay, so he could, in theory, just let them mature, but then it would just take a reckless bite, unless he has Vampire Lair for Dracula to win. However, I do expect Gul'dan to have a stake. We have not had a single stake discard yet, and Gul'dan was the one that he sent to go to potentially check Varna. Okay. Mez into escape. It is definitely highly unlikely that Geo will be able to kill Van Helsing. Van Helsing? How do I keep getting the names mixed up? Goldaming. Plotting. Which, uh-oh. And that means that he will likely get in 2 hits. And if Goldaming can guarantee that he survives by simply doing dodge, escape, or in this case, escape, dodge, because even if he'll cancel the escape with the plotting, which he kind of has to if he wants to get more damage. Yeah, strength into escape. So now that cancels that, and that's 2 damage. The dodge, however, if he wants to do anything when he does the dodge, he'll play another plotting, and then, but that's not doing any damage. And then on 5, he plays escape again and takes another hit, and but then he will have dodge without plotting, an uncontested dodge, for the 6th round, and therefore won't be able to be harmed. So therefore, it's possible. It's also possible that if he plays the right weaponry, he might be able to get away without any further damage. So the plotting may not pay off, and it's already paid off somewhat, but in terms of keeping him here longer. Claw into rifle. Okay, so that means Goldaming gets to. Interesting. Yeah, no holy bullets, but now he can dodge and avoid further damage. That was a bit of a risky play, but very nice to get the semi 50-50 that you guess the correct weapon, the correct form of attack. That Dracula is going to do. So that improves the circumstances for Snuff. Yep. So, I mean, I could go into Sophia, but he'd be risking a bats by doing that. He knows that that's Sophia. That's not where Dracula is. But does you want to risk a bats is the question, or perhaps a nighttime fight with a random vampire. The first mature was with a new vamp, so yeah, this is fighter vamp number 2. Oh, checking Belgrade as a potential wolf form location. I'm not sure how much I like that. Goldaming rested. Although, wait, is this saying that he does not have the stake? If so, I suppose that would explain why Seward's coming over, so they can gang up on it 2-on-1. That would explain, and that would also explain why he chose to play a rifle in that in the 5th round, apart from simply wanting to palm off damage. So now, okay, so now we know that he did not wolf run to Athens. Because the hide card is still on the trail, so he couldn't hide there. Okay, he could now be waiting. He could have gone to Athens and is now sitting at Valona waiting for Seward to land. But no, that is not the case. So, Van Helsing discard. A long night, lol. Not really surprising by that. Okay, checking out what set Sophia. Whatever it is, he's gonna either have to wait another day or search by night. Okay. Spy. That will likely be a knife gone from Mina. Yep. And that's unfortunate for sure. How long will Dracula stay here? Because this doesn't quite threaten a win. Not quite. And if they have Vampire there, they can mess around with how many bites he needs to win. So, at this point he's moved 3 times, and they checked Belgrade, they checked Sarajevo, so therefore it was, so unless he went Varna, Constantinople, now Bucharest, which I find highly unlikely, I think it's the exact reverse of that. Bucharest, Wolf to Varna, Bucharest, oh. Okay. Oh, whoa! This is a spicy. That's actually. I think that's a bit greedy. I think he should have moved to Black Sea. Is Gulam holding Heroic Leap or Escape Route, perhaps? Because I will say that going into a fight with Dracula, only 2-on-1 with a only 6 health Gul'daming and a 2-item, a Mina who's down an item, is definitely a tricky thing. Welcome back in, Scott Sword. Oh, and Seward just nopes out, so he does have the stake to deal with this new vampire. Yeah, this is a very interesting play. By Snuff to not send Seward there. Because you can gang up, you can at least attempt to gang up for a 3-on-1. I mean, so long as Gul'daming has a planned ambush, escape route, or heroic leap. I mean, heroic leap would probably not be advisable because then Dracula can just feed and most likely take him out. So I would not advise that. But planned ambush should be fine. And you have to go to a big city to supply anyway. So do you go there? He doesn't want to step on he doesn't want to step on another spy because the last card will be likely another heavenly host. Escape route. I suppose he just wanted to occupy as many of his lairs as possible, is why he did that. But that seems a tad wasteful. Okay, yep. Vampires dealt with. Intriguing. So now, they checked Sarajevo, they checked Belgrade, so we know that he wolf-horned to Varna, went to Constanta, and then went to Bucharest. I think that if you're Dracula, you better misdirect Constanta and go back there. Because you don't have wolf form, you have to go through Mina to reach any other port, any unoccupied port. Or do you perhaps go to Sofia, lair it with a fog, and go there, and accept a daytime fight with Mina, and then do more or less, and do at least something similar with Salonika. That's a tough thing to call, because if you go to Sofia, they know where you are. You have one encounter, and they could all three pile on top of you. And Godalming is now now has more health. He's pondering on Van Helsing's turn here. I wonder if he's pondering using a CG, even though he can't place tokens on Galatz or Klausenberg, due to how the rules how CG works. He could force him back up towards the castle, but to what ends? I suppose that's probably why he didn't. This is an interesting situation, to be sure. Okay. So he did not go to Sofia, and he did not misdirect, but he did not misdirect Constanta. He's gonna try to make a break for it over land. There is one potential reason that the hunters do have to go over here to. Nice. This is definitely a situation that's useful, where this is useful. Van Helsing. Well, I suppose he can only get, without renewed vigor, he can only get to Belgrade, so he checks that. And that is indeed the case. Nice. The question becomes, does Seward have Heroic Leap? Or are they going to pile on, with Mina still being down item? Godalming is at a health total where I would think that he's good enough to go in. But the question is, what about Mina? Perhaps she's gonna break off from the group and go to Varna, supply there, and then search it. I could see that. I could see him doing that. Now that he's inland, now that he's committed to being inland. That would open up the field there, though. So I think it's possibly, I think it's best that you either pile on, try to force that one, try to make that 1 or 2 extra damage that she can put in vital, because vital to a kill, because Dracula has taken 2 damage from wolf forms. Does Van Helsing have anything useful to trade to them? Is another question. Yeah, this could be tight for Drac. Okay, choosing to go. I think she's making. Oh, char carriage. Ah, I see. So the two of them are going to meet up at Sujed to refill Mina's item slot, and also make sure that they are close in case Dracula continues to go inland. However, I think it more likely that he'll go to his lair at Sophia. Heroic leap on Gul'daming. So now he's down to 8. And the thing is, for a long time now, we have had Rufus Smith in play. That was like one of the first. That was drawn for day 1 of the game. So 8 health is not an ideal amount to be going on a sea voyage with. I'm sure Heroic Leap is already out of the way, but what about CG? Yeah, I cannot say that I like how this looks for Geo. That being said, he does have Sophia open, so he can lay down, so he can be sheltered by 2 encounters. However, so long as if both Mina and if Van Helsing has a yellow too, now, he can rail there, and pile on 4 on 1, and gracious what. And goodness gracious, what they could do with that. Scott's sort of cheering Geo on, saying that we need deputy for Snuff. Well, I am personally fine either way, but I actually said it to Snuff before this combat started in the chat up here that I do have hope that he loses as well, to give the El Rittmeister a chance. Okay, going back to Sophia as expected. Does he have a renewed vigor? I think he would have played it with the speed telegraph if he did, to be honest. But again, with Rufus Smith in play, things are not looking good for Dracula. Bats. Okay, that's 1 encounter dealt with. Okay, Van Helsing coming in as well. Does Mina come in? Or does she instead head for where the trail is? Because if this is a fog, then they may need to just make sure that he doesn't get a hoax. Gigi well played. Apparently it was a dud, a hoax or aristocratic, and Seward's got a planned ambush on top of that. So yeah, this is almost certainly a GG. If all 3 of them play Heavenly Hosts, if that's in the event that's how the hands stand, that's just GG. Nothing you can do about it. Well, I suppose that wouldn't quite kill him, because without Aggie, taking one of them out of the fight would only reduce him down to 2. But then again, how would he survive the next round of combat, even with only 2 left? I think if you're Dracula, you fang Mina to try to snag the Heavenly Host she has, because I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know, but it's entirely possible. Alright, fangs into Van Helsing, which he played a rifle. Okay, so long as there's no holy bullets, those 2 just cancel out. But are there? Nope. Okay, I suppose you forgot to play a dodge, so that he didn't know you had a pistol. But Heavenly Host down to 4, and if Mina played a Heavenly Host too, then it is indeed over. Knife. Alright. Yeah, they can just now triple punch, and even that will do the job. No one's in danger of dying to claws, so... yeah, just triple punch. Game over. Sadly, so, unfortunately, this is a double win. Unfortunately for Geo, this is a double win for Snuff. And this is also unfortunate because that means that El Rittmeister's last hope has now faded. He will unfortunately not make the knockouts. That being said, he can give just as grand a presentation as he can. In the Geo will play and both. Geo will play both. Congrats at Snuff. Congrats, Snuff. Yep. So there we have it, folks. That was a pretty swift win combined to the Dracula game, but in the end, Snuff takes both games. Coming back, last minute comeback from Snuff, so he still got some very hype stuff. Yeah, so my guess with Mina was correct. Final chat. Final chat. So, for those watching on YouTube, yeah, I understand, Geo. I understand Geo. I understand, Geo. Yep. It's not as if Geo won't be progressing to knockouts, because he will. But Snuff has secured his place here in the knockouts as well. But yeah, Snuff will chat briefly. But to those watching this on YouTube, thank you all for watching, and see you all next time. Bye bye. And for those of you on Twitch, let's see what Snuff has to say in this brief chat. You're welcome for the stream, Scott Sword. My pleasure. All these streams have been something to keep me busy, as work hours for me have been a little bit scarce. So it's been something to do, keep myself busy. Hey, Snuff, congratulations! You've secured your spot, 100%.
Yeah, it's barely, but it's did it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, as I said at the beginning, I was hoping that you would lose the second round, so that it would come down to a Mina Burkholz side that tiebreaker, and that would have been real cool to watch develop as with all the games yet to come.
No problem at all. I will never judge someone for cheering for Geo. I do it myself plenty of times. So that's cool. Yeah, so this was a quick one, obviously.
Yeah, compared to the last one. A very fast one.
It's an interesting game. Those are always fun for me, where this is the kind of control game I really enjoy, where it's all about kind of controlling Dracula's movement and picking the time to strike. This was a really tough one too for me because I had the horses in the east and no stake in the east, and I didn't even have a knife in the east. I had horses and guns in the east, and that was pretty much it. Maybe one heavy house in the east as well. And then once I had two horses, I was like, shoot, I need to go and send it and one back to Seward. So
yeah, I saw that awkward situation. I assume that you sent Gul'daming to Salonica because you were hoping an aristocratic start.
No, that was another thing. My whole strategy of the entire game was controlling Drac's movement. Initially, I miscalculated slightly. I was thinking that I could get to Salonica before he moved there, and you know, preventing from going back to the lair, and I just miscounted it. But then I was like, you know, that's still fine. Even if I can't get there, I would have probably done the move anyway, because by blocking.
Yeah, blocking Valona, you deny him even the at least you deny him the I mean, it's still a possibility to just do.
Either go to C, in which case I would have time to get Seward with the only stake over there, or he's gonna wolf and stay in the east, in which case I can continue to kind of follow his movements, and I can put more pressure over there.
Yeah, this is the type of hunter game that you and I, players like you and I know how to do. I mean, if you recall our friendly match from a few days ago, you tried doing that, and yet I did much the same thing, even though you fared better than Gio did here.
I was a little bit concerned initially about throwing Godalming onto that when he didn't have a stake, but I really did, just once I knew Dracula wasn't on it, I wanted to see what was there to see if Stewart could handle it, even with just the one stake. Like, what if it was a double vamp? You know, so I just...
I mean, with 6 points already up the gun, I mean, it could easily have been the case that you would have had no choice but to do it that way. Because then, for all you know, he has to just lay down a reckless vampire, and then you get ambushed with it, and he wins.
Yeah, I was really poorly positioned for that if it was double vamp, because you can only get 2 guns, of course. So, not
yeah, I think that dealing with a even if it were a double vamp, I think that it would have been best to send Seward with a stake. You could get.
The funny thing is, Seward didn't have a weapon. I
okay, which you gave to Mina.
The one that was given to Mina, Seward had a dog, a stake, and a heavenly host. Mina had a knife gun heavenly host. So, obviously I would have played that differently had I seen the double vamp. I would have given Seward the knife. But, I mean, it was a really tough start.
Yeah,
anyway, then
that's...
goes and stays east.
Yeah.
Where could he have wolf formed to? Because I had the escape routes, I felt comfortable jumping on spaces where Drac could have been, just to keep tabs on him, right? And again, control his movement. So first I checked Belgrade, then I checked Bucharest, and obviously he was on Bucharest. And at that point, I obviously knew what his path had been. So I could kind of myself to get the fight I wanted, even though I didn't have many good event cards, you know, except for the heroic lead.
Yeah, which you said as much. But in any event, at the very least, in both cases, he got some. In both cases, he got a consolation prize by limiting your IDS somewhat, as he got only 11 from the 2 games combined. But nonetheless, thank you everyone for watching, and see you all next time. Thanks for coming to chat stuff, and again, congrats.
Thanks for streaming. Thanks for watching.
My pleasure.
Bye for now.
Bye.